Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready? Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Welcome to hour number 3, our third and final live right here on this Monday on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie right side. I am Ben Stevens. We are firmly into football season. Sure, we'll have some Major League Baseball previews later in this third hour, but really our focus Monday Night Football to end out week number 1 and the entirety of our first full Sunday slate. The Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao, will join us up next to look at the most significant injuries that we saw from this opening weekend, even dating back to Thursday and Friday. Tom Vecchio of SportsGrid joins us later in this third hour for his prop perspective on this Monday in a focus on Monday Night Football. That's where we begin, DRS, in hour number 3. It's the 49ers. It's the Jets in Santa Clara. We continue our breakdown.
Yeah, by the way, another breakdown here, BSS. There's more hours that we have to spend in football season getting ready for content and putting in the hard work. Weighed myself this morning, Ben. Lost 2 pounds last week. Was it the stress of football season? Was it being up an extra couple hours? I mean, you want to talk about, hey, guys, if you guys want to lose weight out here, just bet football games and do football content. You can eat whatever you want at any time and apparently lose weight. So I feel like I'm getting in the game shape. You know, some people show up to training camp a little bit overweight. Not saying I'm overweight, but you can still lose. I'm working hard right now, working my way back into football shape here, apparently. How about that?
What are you fully down from when you started fasting, I believe in September of 2023?
Yeah, I was 231, 232 in that range, give or take a pound or two. So today I weighed myself 195. So there we go. We're working our way back, by the way. This is right around my senior year of college, playing wide receiver in the mid-190s. So maybe there's something to be said about it. I got a couple routes left in me, man. The body's telling me, got back in shape. Now we're ready.
You never know, DRS. I mean, down by 35-plus pounds. A guy that intermittent fasts, a guy that hasn't eaten dinner since August of 2023. This guy is doing some good stuff. Football playing shape.
The studio was so hot yesterday, Ben. I mean, that could be too.
He might have been. He might just be down some water weight. Like a cut before a wrestling match. That's what the guy's doing.
Probably.
Here.
Yeah. Got to get that extra cardio in. Goodness.
Listen, I hope they cool it down for Monday night. The PFT crew all together, DRS, OK Dubs, Kevin Walsh, and Joe Lisi for Monday Night Football to round out week number 1 of this NFL season. A Monday night in Santa Clara between the 49ers and the New York Jets. San Francisco, a 3.5-point home favorite. Total at 43.5. We had to ask the people, what's the best bet for Monday Night Football? That was the question to all of you in Fade the Public. The Niners laying 3.5. The Jets as the road underdog, catching more than a field goal. Over 43.5. Under that number, what is the best bet for Monday Night Football? At SportsGrid, here are your answers. Nearly 38% laying it with San Francisco. That surprises me, DRS. And the second most selected is the Jets, getting 3.5 points. But in terms of that total, under 43.5, 22%, less than 15% of the votes on the over. I think Donnie's fading the public in both of those categories.
Yeah, I am. And by the way, I do feel, because again, I appreciate hate in this world sometimes, specifically when it's directed in the sports landscape. And it's like, you know what? I don't care the Jets are playing. They're going to get beat in that game. Just give me the 49ers. There's a lot of it out there because you took a look at a lightning rod team like the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback, and a lot of people just want to see them lose. But you have to sort of separate yourself. And I told myself in the offseason, I'm not really looking towards the Jets. This could be an absolute massacre season. It could be ridiculously bad. Who knows what we get out of Aaron Rodgers? Is he focused or not? I'm trying to set that aside, at least for Monday night, because, yes, we are going to have unbelievable answers by the end of this game, good or bad for the New York Jets. But I want to say to myself, let's look at this football team, Ben, from start to finish. Defensive line, linebacker, cornerbacks, safeties. Elite New York Jets defense here. You take a look at the offense. What do they have to improve? The offensive line. They tried to do that in the offseason. We'll see if it plays out. Breece Hall is one of the more electrified runners in the NFL. You got a decent tight end, but now you have a great tandem of wide receivers and Mike Williams on one side and obviously Garrett Wilson on the other. So I'm expecting Aaron Rodgers to come back to a very good scenario. And if we just look, Ben, at last year, the only thing missing was just not even great quarterback play, competent quarterback play, and I think you're going to get that here. So for me, I did take the Jets at the 3.5. We'll see where that line ends up by game time. I take a look at the over-under, and I see the 43.5 as an under, and a lot of people betting it. I understand that you have two great defenses, but also keep in mind, a lot of penalties week 1, defensively and offensively. It will be a little bit sloppy. We're not worried about weather conditions tonight in Santa Clara, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. But you're also, if you put both of these teams and say, Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to get a little bit of that flavor of the past 5 years. We know Kyle Shanahan is always on it. So both of these teams approaching 20 points won't surprise me here. So I have no choice but to look at the over as well.
I think when you think about this game, DRS, you talk defenses. San Francisco, third best scoring defense in the regular season a season ago, 17.5 points per game only allowed. The New York Jets really focused on the defensive side of the football when a lot was asked out of that unit. Less than 21 points per game, 12th best in the regular season last year around the National Football League. But there are two good offenses on display. I'm a little bit spooked because, as you'll see in our triple option, I lean San Francisco with a little bit of too much love in the market for the New York Jets at this moment, and at least thinking we get off to a slower scoring pace to start. We'll see what happens in the final two quarters. But I am very much public in line right now, and I don't love that. Let's continue the breakdown, DRS, that we were looking at from the prop component. We have often had the conversation around Brock Purdy. What is his role in this San Francisco offense? Distribute the football to his talented playmakers. Isn't that every quarterback's role? Doesn't he make this offense more efficient in doing so? 4,280 passing yards a season ago, fifth most in the National Football League. Donnie, his prop tonight, 237 and a hook against what was the NFL's best passing defense in the National Football League a year ago, is still a number that Brock Purdy averaged more than 30 yards per game better than, and a number that Purdy went over 11 of 16 games in the regular season.
I'll tell you what's wild about Brock Purdy. Ben, let's just go back to last year. If he won the Super Bowl, we'd probably still be having this conversation of how much money he should deserve and how good a player he actually is. And, oh, yeah, the football team around him is really good. We never question that with other quarterbacks when they're good. Like, oh, well, Patrick Mahomes has one of the best tight ends in history. Of course he's going to be good. We don't question it there because why? His elite arm talent. We've seen him in the biggest moments make crazy plays and crazy throws. Same thing with Josh Allen. I mean, to be that big a size and that crazy good running the football and throwing it is wild. We get none of that out of Brock Purdy, except him being a very good quarterback. But then we say, well, his arm's not that great. He's not that tall of a guy. He doesn't move around all that great out of the pocket. He's an okay athlete, but he never gets the credit for being a very good quarterback. And it's always, what is Kyle Shanahan actually doing for you? Well, quite frankly, if Kyle Shanahan was great, Trey Lance would be the starter and be the best quarterback of all time. You'd see other guys like Nick Mullins still sticking around being the starting quarterback. You have to have talent to run an NFL system. I don't care how good your offensive coordinator is, but I always get a kick out of that. Brock Purdy's a very good quarterback, but I say this now. When we go to next season and he gets paid, if he does reset the market, like when Dak reset it, like nobody's really yelling, oh, he got overpaid. Like, no, that's what we expected. But we see a contract with, $50 million or more per season on Brock Purdy. He's going to get those detractors. And it's been the first time probably since Daniel Jones got his $40 million, where we all laughed about it, except the New York Giants front office. That's going to be crazy to think of. But for my money tonight, I'm just going to trust Aaron Rodgers a bit more for Brock Purdy. But I hear you. There's so much disrespect on this guy, and he's a solid quarterback. We just don't give him credit for winning football games. We just don't.
And great, he has offensive playmakers around him. That's good. That should mean a good football team offensively. That includes the best playmaker in football and the reigning offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey. 73.5 rushing yards, 34.5 receiving yards. Expected to have more than 100 scrimmage yards tonight. But his counterpart, Breece Hall, pretty up there as well. 64.5 rushing, 27.5 receiving. The injury update from week 1 with the Pro Football Doc up next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready? Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Live right here on this Monday, following our first full Sunday slate in week number 1 around the National Football League. This is how you know it's football season on the early line, the injury insight and analysis from around the National Football League with the Pro Football Doc himself, Dr. David Chao, joining us here on this Monday. Dr. Chao, glad to have you back for yet another football season. Excited to talk each and every week throughout this NFL campaign.
Great to be back. It was nice to be back in the war room. We were in there on Sunday with everybody watching all the games, especially the early games, 8 of them. And after the first set of games, we looked around and into the second set, we're like, boy, this is like the healthiest Sunday ever of NFL football. And of course, then it starts to swing the other way. It never ceases to amaze me, the NFL.
A couple of significant injuries later in the afternoon on Sunday. But, Doc, before we get to the first full Sunday slate, let's go back to Friday night in Sao Paulo as the Packers were trying to come back late in the fourth quarter. Jordan Love injured his knee and was out. The Packers were saying right now it's an injury to the MCL. He avoids what many feared an ACL tear that would have ended his season. What did you see on the play in Brazil? What is the timetable in your estimation for Jordan Love to return to the field?
Now, full disclosure, I took my son to a high school football game, so I was watching on my iPad and with the crowd around me, et cetera, and obviously very late in the game. But we never expected or suspected or worried about an ACL tear. It just wasn't the right mechanism. From the get-go, we said this is a injury where he's likely to miss some time, but it's not surgery. And I still think, and I thought initially, and I still think he has a chance to avoid injured reserve. Now, technically, the Packers really haven't said much of anything yet. They haven't had to. There's no official media reporting. It's reporters saying it. By video, he got his left ankle trapped, which can lead to a mild high ankle. That's what we were saying. And the associated injury was the MCL, and that often comes in combination. And the pop that everyone focused on the knee, we never thought was that big of a deal. It was a temporary shifting of the kneecap as a result of the MCL. Right now, look, it's definitely no surgery. It's not season ending. Let's rejoice in that. The question is when. Look, with him being a quarterback, lead leg, they often wear braces. I don't think it's impossible, and it would be a Packers dream to have him back week 4. I think they play the division rival Vikings then. That's not unheard of. If he goes out on IR, he won't be back till week 6 at the earliest. So if there's any chance that Love can return before missing 4 games, the Packers will not put him on injured reserve. But they obviously have to make a move at quarterback. Are they really going to start Malik Willis, who's just got there and is learning the system?
Yeah, that's certainly one to watch here for sure. Let's take a look at Josh Allen, another quarterback, banged up his non-throwing hand. Now, after the game, Doc, he said, I'm not a doctor. I think I'm fine. Doc, you're a doctor. Tell us, is he fine?
Well, you know, I play one through the TV. Yes, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. Yes, I took care of these guys. And yes, you look at that big rap, but here's the thing he has going for him. First of all, it's the non-throwing hand. Second of all, he clearly finished the game. It happened pretty early. The video that we saw was on his touchdown diving run, where it was the ultimate friendly fire injury. It wasn't from a teammate. It was from his right elbow landing on his left hand as he was protecting and carrying the ball. And that's a contusion. There hasn't been a lot of word. I don't see how that's a fracture. It's his non-throwing hand. We don't have him downgraded in terms of his 6 score. I get it. It's a quick turnaround for a Thursday game. But we always like delivering optimism, whether it's on Jordan Love when everyone thinks the season's over or on Josh Allen. And we're optimistic on Josh Allen and hope to be correct.
Quick turnaround for week number 2 to kick off on a Thursday night in Miami. The Dolphins and the Bills, with the Fins currently a 2-point favorite. Yesterday, Dr. Chao, the Rams offense was looking good early. Both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua involved. He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off in Sunday Night Football in Detroit. What do you think Puka Nacua's status is moving forward for L.A.?
Well, you know, people make a lot out of the carted off. That seemed like he had carted off of convenience rather than necessity, right? It wasn't like an air cast. But here's the thing we've been saying all preseason. We haven't talked to you guys, Ben and Donnie, in a little bit, but all preseason, including our preseason injury preview at SIC Score, we were pessimistic on Puka Nacua's injury to the same right knee of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component. This is the same right knee without a lot of video. And this is why we were saying under futures on Puka for the season, because that PCL can linger. We have no reports right now. And whatever Sean McVay says later on today, and the Rams say, sure, we'll follow along. But we all know about coach speak. We're still worried about Puka, that this is related to the preseason right knee injury.
Doc, if we take a look and fast forward to tonight, we got a great turnout, it looks like, for the Jets and the 49ers. Give us any concerns that you might have on either side of the football tonight.
Well, zero concern about Aaron Rodgers, zero concern about Breece Hall. As a matter of fact, we have a new fantasy calculator that takes into effect the health of the offensive line against the health of the defense, and he's supposed to boom tonight. Offensively, completely green for the Jets. Defensively, basically completely green on our field view for the Jets. The 49ers have some issues. Besides Brandon Ayuk just coming back, besides Trent Williams, just coming back, are they in game shape yet? No Dre Greenlaw. Hufanga sort of a chronic issue at this point in time. The Jets are the healthier side for this matchup, and hopefully nothing happens 4 plays into the game like last year.
That would be the concern for the New York Jets. They are hoping to avoid deja vu. There you saw the field views at SICScore.com. That's what Dr. David Chao and his team run. It is a great resource from injury perspective, health status of the entirety of a team entering a huge matchup like we have on this Monday. Sports Injury Central and SICScore.com. Dr. David Chao, the first of many throughout this 2024 NFL season. We appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
Very glad to have you here once again. A quick Major League Baseball breakdown on this 9-game Monday slate before we get the prop perspective with Tom Vecchio for Monday Night Football. That's next here on the Early Line.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
This is a segment I'm very excited to do because I wonder now, with a football brain, how much MLB breakdowns Donnie Rightside has left in the tank down the home stretch of this regular season in September. How you feeling about the MLB slate on this Monday? 9-game slate, DRS. We going to get some bets down, or we focusing on Monday Night Football?
I got to tell you, working on some, point of interest for a little bit later tonight. We go live, 3, 2, 1, cameras on. Oh, this is baseball. So open it up, and nobody caps better on the fly than your boy DRS, man. Have confidence in me. I know what I'm doing over here. Sure.
Listen, I have great confidence in you. The New York Mets should also be having a lot of confidence at this moment. They had their win streak snapped yesterday by the Reds, but the Mets still one of the hottest teams in baseball over the past 2.5 weeks. They hope to keep the winning ways afloat up in Canada against the Blue Jays. They are a slight road favorite at -116 on the money line. Total of 8.5. Of course, New York and Atlanta enter this week. Less than 20 games remain for all 30 clubs around the Bigs, tied for the final spot in the National League wild card chase. Will the Mets rack up another victory today in the 6?
They should rack up another victory, but you know what else is going to get racked up? Runs in this game. That 8.5, I'm already going to be rooting for that over. You take a look at the offense tonight going up against Paul Blackburn, expected to be the starter of the New York Mets. He struggled. His last 58 batters that he's faced over the past 30 days, a 226 ISO power number against and a weighted on base percentage of 437. If you take into just totality of the season against right-handed batters whom he's faced 157 times, an ISO of 234 and a weighted on base percentage of 389. Let's just look at that lineup we anticipate tonight for the Blue Jays. If we go just about right-handed pitching over the past month and we remove Alejandro Kirk, the catcher, who's a right-handed batter, every single one of those batters, Ben, above average ISO, above average weighted on base percentages. Now let's flip it over to the New York Mets going up against Chris Bassett. Not a great pitcher by any stretch. He has been very, very good, though, against right-handed batters, both the last 30 days, Ben, and for the full season. If we do line up him just against left-handed batters, take a look at this. His last 55 that he's faced, a 362 ISO and a 531 weighted on base percentage. So the apple of your eye from the Big Apple, that should be left-handed batters. Lindor, Nimmo, Winker, they should be there. But if you said, Donnie, just give me one batter you would take for the Mets here, it's got to be Francisco Lindor, having a sensational season and crushing right-handed pitching. So I do think we get a total tonight. Even look at the temperatures up in the 6 tonight, 65 degrees here. Might even have to close that dome and turn the heat on tonight for the boys.
If there was no Shohei Ohtani, Francisco Lindor might win the National League MVP award, but Ohtani is there. This is it for the Mets. This road trip to Toronto, followed by a day off and a road trip this weekend to Philadelphia. It's 7 games against the Phils with a Nats series smashed in between before a road trip 2 weeks from tomorrow starts in Atlanta. Here we go. This is October baseball, even early in September. Postseason preview. That is the question here for our next game up in the Bronx between the Yankees and the Royals. KC, snapping the 7-game skid, now have won 4 straight games. They swept the Twins this weekend. Kansas City now in the second American League wildcard spot. The Yankees, a half-game lead over Baltimore for the top spot in the American League East. 8.5 is the total. The Yanks are rather hefty favorite at home today. Is it too steep of a price?
It is a very steep price here for Carlos Rodon, but if you're saying to yourself, maybe you're not willing to take the Kansas City Royals, figure they can get a win at Yankee Stadium, just focus on some RBI props. Why is that? Carlos Rodon has struggled on the season against right-handed batters. Sometimes lefty pitchers do that. Now, it hasn't been bad. On the season itself, 528. How about that? Batters he's faced from the right-hand side, a 211 ISO and a 332 weighted on base percentage. It actually gets slightly better over the past 30 days, but if you look in the middle of that order for the Royals, that's Bobby Witt, that's Salvador Perez, and Paul DeJong. 276, 481, and 292 respectively with those ISO power numbers. Look at the weighted on base percentages for those 3 guys. 432, 444, and 378. 1, 2, or maybe 3 of those guys, legitimate opportunities for RBI. If you take a look at Brady Singer, he's got decent stats, but he does have higher weighted on base percentages against lefty than he does righties. So if you're looking at that lineup and saying, Donnie, give me a couple RBI chances for the Yanks tonight, it's Soto, it's Wells, and it's Chisholm in the middle of that lineup. 72 degrees with the wind blowing out at Yankee Stadium. We have some decent RBI chances tonight if you don't want to lay the actual side itself, Ben.
quickly here. Can Baltimore catch New York? We'll show you the odds. We might not get the breakdown from DRS, but that's okay. Boston favorite at home. Yeah, Cade Povich is starting for Baltimore. I think that's your breakdown.
There you go. Boom. Done deal. Look how quick we did that.
Very well done. By the way, the Red Sox sadly have lost 11 of their last 16, kind of out of the wild card chase in the AL. The prop perspective on this Monday next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display. My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was only going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
The prop perspective on this Monday, the first Monday night football game of the 2024 NFL season with SportsGrid's Tom Vecchio, live right here on the early line across the SportsGrid network. Vecchio, as always, we appreciate the time. An NFL weekend for you now in the books at SportsGrid, but it continues on this Monday night. We appreciate the time as always.
Of course, yeah. Week one was and has been great. It's not over yet. We have one more good game tonight. Some really, really interesting notes that we have to pay attention to for various betting reasons. Let's just roll right into it.
Yeah, let's go right to it. 4.5 point spread now in favor of the 49ers, up by a full point from where the line was early on this Monday morning. It was 3 and a hook, as you see on the screen, live on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Now, though, San Francisco laying 4.5 at home. The total has remained the same at 43.5. Tom, with those notes, what are the numbers telling you about Monday Night Football to end out Week 1?
Really, really solid game. And I think there's a lot we can take away from this game, even if the Jets lose, which is kind of what I'm expecting overall. I think we have actually some really interesting betting lines. I'm expecting a kind of lack of scoring, as we've seen in a lot of these games. And as I've said, starting on Thursday night for all the games, live overs. That's what we want to be focusing in on. All these teams are starting off super slow, right? A lack of scoring in the first half for everyone. And then all of a sudden, after a few series, the starters finally get in the groove and they turn things up in the second half. So that's where we want to be focusing in on. If this live total drops to 37.5, 36, somewhere around there, live overs is the spot to go.
If we're looking at this game and saying, okay, the X's and O's, we obviously two quality football teams, talented on defense, talented on offense. When you're looking from even like a prop perspective, you look at Aaron Rodgers. Do you sort of backtrack just a little bit because we haven't seen him basically in 2 years? And also from the same side, like Brandon Ayuk, supposed to be on a pitch count. How do you approach these type of situations?
Yeah, the Rodgers one is really, really tough because, like you said, we haven't seen him in a couple of years, and that last year in Green Bay really wasn't his best. So what are we going to be seeing from him tonight? I think could be all over the place. I'm trying to play things a little bit safe tonight, and that would lead me to under on his attempts. I think that's the easiest spot to start, but I think it is very tough. And then the Brandon Ayuk news, that leads me to a number of different props, and we also have to remember the CMC news. So there's actually a ton to break down when it comes to the San Francisco side of things.
So let's look at the Niners then in terms of that prop perspective. We'll go season outlook, big picture after all of that. Aaron Rodgers will have a lot of focus tonight, of course, as he makes a second start in his second year with the New York Jets on a Monday night. That's bad deja vu for Gang Green. They're hoping he plays more than 4 offensive snaps in the entirety of this game. But let's talk about the quarterback on the other side. A lot is made of Brock Purdy and his role and what exactly he means for this offense in San Francisco. Tom, how do you view Brock Purdy from the numbers and the prop perspective entering this Monday night clash?
I actually like the over on his yards, which isn't something I generally say for Purdy, especially in a difficult matchup. As we know, tough defense on really both sides. But I think part of the CMC news plays into this. And it's the CMC news, being listed as questionable with his ankle Achilles injury. This plays into everything. Because if he's not at 100%, because he wouldn't be on the injury report if he was at 100%. So that impacts the passing props for Purdy. It impacts the props for the rest of the players. So that's kind of my starting point for the 49ers tonight is CMC being listed as questionable. So I like Purdy over on yards and probably attempts ultimately. And then I like Rodgers under on attempts because I think they're going to try and ease him into things after missing a full season. And I think this means a big game for Breece Hall. Despite a tough defense from San Francisco, it's going to be a big Breece Hall game, and it's going to come down to combined rushing plus receiving for Breece Hall.
A lot of times last year, Tom, for me, it was let me just take an anytime touchdown prop for Christian McCaffrey and just keep rolling it over because he scored every single week. If we're looking at his rushing props, we're not really getting a discount. 73.5 is his number at the FanDuel Sportsbook as if he's going to be completely healthy. If you had to guess tonight the game plan for the San Francisco 49ers, does it mean more Deebo Samuel running the football? Does it mean a little bit less of Christian McCaffrey? Or could we possibly just be overblowing the situation and we see McCaffrey with 20-plus touches tonight?
I think the range of outcomes for this is massive. Like it's just all smoke and mirrors. And CMC is just totally healthy and he goes for 22, 24 combined touches and 100 plus yards and he scores. And it's just business as usual for the 49ers. But on the other side of that coin, it's what you said is they have Deebo more involved. And I think that is one of the parts that I'm going to look to most consistently is going to be Deebo having a big game. And it also might be George Kittle as we continue to break things down.
When you look at Christian McCaffrey, of course, he tied the NFL record with 17 consecutive games scoring a touchdown. Found pay dirt for San Francisco the first 8 weeks of the season. What is so funny, Vecchio? I say something?
It's just 17 weeks in a row. It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. And you're right. And Donnie was not wrong in terms of his handicap of Christian McCaffrey just betting the anytime touchdown price, despite how steep it was. He scored 13 of 16 weeks in total for San Francisco in the regular season a year ago. You mentioned Deebo Samuel and where you think his role in the offense is. Let's go to New York. If you look at Aaron Rodgers, 235 and a hook, you mentioned Breece Hall is going to be that guy. But one of the reasons, Vecchio, there is optimism about what Aaron Rodgers could accomplish this year if he remains fully healthy is not just Breece Hall, but all of the offensive playmakers for Gang Green. Garrett Wilson, who won the Offensive Rookie of the Year award 2 years ago. Mike Williams, the new addition from the Chargers as well. What do you make of the pass catchers for New York entering this opening game?
Garrett Wilson is awesome. I'd have more interest in his total receptions prop compared to his receiving yards. Mike Williams is also a big question mark because we know he's coming off the injury. He's with a new team. I think he has plenty of talent. But again, we can't take anything that the Jets did last year and bring it forward to this year because we have so many new additions, so many things have changed. They just need average quarterback play. So I think Mike Williams has the talent, and I think his number is super low. But again, he's not fully healthy. Like, not playing in preseason, all these things makes this game, especially from the Jet side, so tough to handicap. But again, we're gonna lean on Breece Hall. We're gonna lean on Breece Hall total attempts over, and Breece Hall combined rushing plus receiving, plus the SF props that I have.
Yeah, it looks pretty good all throughout here because you're looking at the numbers. And again, we're not dealing with a football game that's 49.5, 52.5, so some crazy numbers. So you're getting what looks like to be discounted prices. Deebo Samuel, 48.5 yards receiving. Brandon Ayuk, 50.5. George Kittle, 45.5. Then the lead dog here for the Jets at Garrett Wilson. If I'm going to ask you for advice tonight on how to approach the game from a Jets perspective, would it be quarterback, wide receiver, or running back, Tom, that you say, Donnie, that's the market you should be invested in if you're looking to bet a player on the Jets tonight?
It's probably Hall, and his touchdown odds, I think, are at plus 140. And regardless of it being a tough defense, we're getting a player that has essentially projected for close to 20 total touches, and in an offense that may not be passing at a super high volume. If I'm going under at least the notion that I think they're going to try and ease Rodgers into things, that means more of a Breece Hall heavy game. And yes, it's a tough defense, but we're getting him at an awesome number for a player that's going to get close to 20 touches, which is not something that we normally get. So it would start with Breece Hall, then move to Garrett Wilson, and then move to Rodgers in terms of just trust I have in terms of their props overall.
The Niners, the third best rushing defense in the National Football League last year in the regular season, allowing less than 90 yards per game. But Breece Hall will be expected to do it all, much like Christian McCaffrey. 97.5 is the rushing plus receiving yards prop for Breece Hall. It's 112 and a hook for Christian McCaffrey. Vecchio, we just saw the board right there of your top props for Monday Night Football. Take us through quickly here in the final 50 seconds of this segment.
Yeah, it's Deebo Samuel over rushing plus receiving. CMC's not healthy. Ricky Pearsall's on IR. Ayuk is on a snap count. And as I've said before about Deebo, they manufactured touches for him out of the backfield, running routes, jet sweeps, bubble screens. They get the ball in his hands as a priority for them. So if we have all these factors, CMC not fully healthy, all the players, it is a Deebo game tonight. It is a Deebo TD tonight. Then it's going to be Kittle over yards. And then ultimately, I think that they're going to, again, ease Rodgers into things, which would put him under passing attempts and over on Breece Hall rushing attempts.
33.5, the number for Aaron Rodgers. Number 8, more than likely in white tonight for the New York Jets. Tom Vecchio, we appreciate the prop perspective on this Monday. Donnie and I run the triple option for Monday Night Football next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display. My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! It's what champions do.
Monday Night Football, a marquee matchup to end out week number 1 of this 2024 NFL season tonight in Santa Clara between the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Jets. Some Monday market movement now back in favor of San Fran. The line opened at 5.5 or 6 earlier in the summer months. It got down to 3.5. Last week was 4.5, down to 3.5 throughout this weekend, and even bright and early on this Monday morning. Currently, DRS, the line is live at 4.5 on FanDuel in favor of the Niners. Total 43.5. Before we dive into our triple option, when you look at the numbers for tonight, what is it telling you about both of these teams entering their season openers?
It tells me that we're going to look at the 49ers from a power perspective and say home field advantage does matter. And coming 3,000 miles to the West Coast to play a team that just played in the Super Bowl and has a lot less technical question marks than the Jets do, not about actually players on the field, but can they win and actually make it to the playoffs? So the 49ers might win tonight. They're favored to do so. We expect the 49ers to get into the playoffs, and I expect the Jets to get into the playoffs. But it is a nice line where you're not dealing with just that coin flip, like opening night, right? We knew we were probably going to get a great game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs, teetering on 2.5 and 3s here. We're not getting that here. We're pretty sure that the Niners are the favorite, and I'm interested to see where this line actually closes. Is 4.5 the highest number that's going to be bet up today? I would imagine so. 5 seems like it would be just too far of a distance with a total of 43.5 and expecting a close game. I think 4.5 is right, and I like the Jets tonight. I'm not saying this is one of the very few times under a touchdown that you might say, and yesterday, same thing with like the Steelers and the Falcons. One of those where I can see the 49ers winning this game, but I could also see saying, okay, Niners win, but the Jets do cover the 4.5.
It is fascinating. The San Francisco 49ers played in 20 games last year, including Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. They did lose as a favorite to Kansas City, but they were favored. And they were favored in all 20 games, just 9-11 against the spread. In fact, in the regular season, not many of them were under a touchdown, let alone flirting with a field goal number. I am incredibly intrigued from the spread perspective to see where the Jets are this year. Last year, without Aaron Rodgers, after 4 offensive plays, the Jets were an underdog in 14 of 17 games, 6-8 against the number, 5 outright victories in those 6 covers. But it should be noted, for instance, both of these teams on the road week number 2, and the lines are out. The 49ers 5.5-point favorite in Minnesota against the Vikings, who hammered the Giants over the weekend, 28-6 in MetLife. Sam Darnold looking great. Justin Jefferson a touchdown. We didn't really hit on that game. I know Donnie wanted to say some things about Danny Dimes, but the Jets, DRS, 4.5-point favorite in Tennessee against the Titans. Again, I don't think New York is going to be booked as a dog. Often, is this the time to take advantage for Aaron Rodgers and Gang Green? That's where we start in our triple option. Our favorite side, total and prop for Monday Night Football in Santa Clara. So, Donnie, what is your favorite side for MNF?
Yeah, I'll take the Jets. And again, anything over a field goal, I would be confident with doing that. 3.5s, 4s, and now 4.5s, as we're seeing at the FanDuel Sportsbook. I think that makes a lot of sense. But also, Tom Vecchio brought up a very good point on this. It's not as if you're like, we love live game betting. Don't get me wrong. But week 7, it's not like, well, let me wait to see live because Anthony Richardson's played 6 games already. I want to see him in game number 7. No, sometimes you might take a look at Aaron Rodgers in game number 1 and say, I haven't seen anything out of him. Because quite frankly, if you saw Kirk Cousins yesterday and said, let me go wait to a quarter in, Kirk doesn't look all that good here. Maybe I want to back off and not play this game as opposed to just playing it pregame with the Atlanta Falcons. Same thing for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. You come out in that first quarter, he's 7 for 8 for 62 yards and a touchdown pass. Like, whoa, what do we got here? He's 1 for 5 with an interception and sacked twice in the first quarter. Maybe you don't want to take the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers props here. So pregame, pre-flop here, I'll take the Jets at 4.5 though.
So we heard it from Dr. David Chao. The Jets are the healthier team. San Francisco with some injury concerns. Dre Greenlaw not going to be out there to start this season. Brendan Ayuk and Trent Williams trying to rev up into injury shape. Christian McCaffrey listed on the injury report. I just believe San Francisco is a better team and should win this game by a touchdown tonight. The 49ers laying 3.5 is the way that I look. I believe there's been a lot of love in the marketplace, whether it's sharp or square betting. I'm not entirely sure. The public likes San Francisco more than I expected in our FTP poll to start off this third hour. I'm going to lay 3.5 with the 49ers. The line now working to San Francisco's side of things at 4 and a hook. Donnie, you said this very early on as we first looked at Monday Night Football to end out week one. Two really good defenses, two defenses we expect to be top 5, top 10 throughout this NFL season. But you think we see some offense and some points tonight. How come?
You're just looking at both of these teams. And again, we don't have anything to go off of what we've seen in the past. That's it. Nothing from this year. But we know as well, you and I know this. These two teams aren't built for, hey, we score 14 to 17 points in a game. They have the best offensive coordinator / play caller in the sport in Kyle Shanahan. They have an elite offense out there, the San Francisco 49ers. You flip it over to Aaron Rodgers with new weapons at wide receiver position, and we love Breece Hall in the backfield. So I would be shocked at the end of this game, like, man, this offense scored 11 points, 12 points, 13 points in this game. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. So if I think both of these teams will be able to approach 20 points, which means 17 or more out of both of them, I can't say I like the under at 43.5. I think both of these teams should be in at least the low 20s, which puts me in play for that 43.5. I'll go over just based on that scenario. But again, it's week one. We don't have a lot of backlog. We're just going on, yeah, these two teams have weapons, and I think they should both get the 20 points.
The 49ers were 12-5 throughout the regular season last year in all 12 wins. It should not be a shock that San Francisco scored a lot of points, but they did score at least 27 in all 12 victories, and they are favored tonight. I actually go under 21.5 in the opening half. A lot of that is more on the New York Jets. In fact, I wanted to bet the Jets team total under in the first half, but it was 9 and a hook. Didn't like it under 10, so I'll go under 3 touchdowns for the first half. We saw it yesterday with Kirk Cousins, 36 years old, coming off a torn Achilles. Aaron Rodgers is 40, coming off a torn Achilles. He has more time to rev up. It happened week one for him as opposed to midway through the year for Kirk Cousins, but I think it takes some time. Donnie, before you go, what's your favorite prop of the night?
Aaron Rodgers over 1.5 touchdown passes inside the 5-yard line. He ain't handing that football off, people. He's making eye contact, throwing touchdowns, baby.
Hey, have fun on the money line. Have fun tonight in studio with the PFT crew. We'll talk on Wednesday. More early line next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display. My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
Live right here on this Monday on the early line on SportsGrid. We round out our show today with me finishing my triple option for Monday Night Football, looking at the individual prop perspective and then the individual race in college football, who is going to strike the pose as a Heisman Trophy winner for the 2024 season. Let's end out the triple option for Monday Night Football. Now, I hear from Dr. David Chao. I hear from Tom Vecchio. Kyle Shanahan himself, the head coach of the 49ers, said that Brandon Ayuk might be on a pitch count or a snap count tonight. Why? The guy was there throughout training camp. Yeah, he wasn't on the practice field. He was holding in, but he got his deal. So make sure he's ready for week number 1. And I think he is going to be for week number 1. And I'm not saying he goes off for 102 touchdowns tonight against the New York Jets, who are the best passing defense in the National Football League a season ago. In fact, New York was the only passing defense that limited opponents to less than 170 yards per game. But I think the numbers are just a tad too low tonight for what is still an explosive San Francisco offense. Brandon Ayuk's number is 50.5. In our offseason conversations about Ayuk in San Francisco and his demands for more money and then his demand for a trade and the 49ers being reluctant, it's because Brandon Ayuk is a darn good wide receiver. We've seen that in his 4 years in the National Football League. We have especially seen that in his last 2 years, emerging as San Francisco's top target. Christian McCaffrey is there. Deebo Samuel is there. George Kittle is there. All of these guys are some of the best at their position, if not the best. But look at the numbers. Brandon Ayuk is the top target. For each of the past 2 seasons, he has had more targets and more receptions than anybody else with the 49ers. Last year, for instance, the first full year with Brock Purdy as the starting quarterback in San Francisco, he had more than 100 targets. Nobody else had more than 90. He had 75 grabs, 10 more than George Kittle, who had the second most with 65 receptions. That leads me to Brandon Ayuk's number tonight of 50 and a hook. He had more than 1,300 receiving yards a year ago. He had 50-plus receiving yards. If you want to pay a little juice and just do 50-plus, I completely understand and not be burned by the hook. He had 50 or more receiving yards in 12 of the 16 regular season games he played a season ago. I just think the number is a tad too light. Again, does he go off for the century mark and 2 receiving scores now because he got his $30 million per year contract? I'm not saying that, but I think he can get to 50 tonight. He is Brock Purdy's favorite and top target. I think we see that on display against the New York Jets. I understand the injury to Christian McCaffrey is slightly concerning. I know Deebo Samuel does it all, but I believe in Brandon Ayuk having at least 50 receiving yards tonight, maybe even 51, over 50 and a half. Updated Heisman Trophy race after week number 2 of this 2024 college football season. And a new favorite has emerged. Quinn Ewers threw for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns in Ann Arbor against Michigan. He was outstanding. He was sensational, as was his team in Texas. Quinn Ewers becoming the favorite, not throwing for 350 and 4 touchdowns against Michigan, but having a great statistical day, still of 246, but still less than 250 and 3 touchdowns, is an indication of how the Heisman Trophy market does play out. Individual success is correlated with team success. If you perform on the most significant of stages, it is going to do more for your number than 500 yards and 6 touchdowns against an FCS foe. Quinn Ewers is deserving of being the Heisman Trophy favorite, as Texas now has the 3rd best price by themselves at plus 550 to win a national championship. But notice those 2 numbers. Ewers has a shorter number to win the Heisman Trophy, 5-1, than his Texas team at plus 550 does to win a national title. It's because Texas is now a minus 600 favorite to make the college football playoff. But I want to bring your attention elsewhere in that board. Yeah, Cam Ward, great for Miami each of these first 2 weeks. Carson Beck, pretty solid for Georgia. Jalen Milroe leading a comeback for Alabama. Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel, Nico Iamaleava was big in a big-time start in Charlotte. All of those names deserving of their prices. But take a look at Ashton Genty at 28-1, 10th best number on the FanDuel Sportsbook. He is the only non-quarterback on that board. He is the running back for Boise State. 4 FBS players, 300 or more rushing yards. Only one has more than 400, and he's got 459, does Ashton Genty. And he's got 9 rushing touchdowns, 6 week number 1 against Georgia Southern, but 3 in Eugene against Oregon. He is the real deal. The Early Line returns tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, here on SportsGrid.